Jack, I'm just going through this week's Technology Metals report, and it starts with a story about China plans mind-boggling geoscience survey to hunt for natural resources. Can you talk to us about this story?
Yes, China is going to combine traditional aerial surveys of the land, which everyone uses to look for mineral deposits, with AI and whatever other technologies they're using, and they're going to map the entire nation of China for minerals. They want to assess what deposits of minerals China has. Okay, this is the first nation on earth to do this. It is extremely forward thinking, and the United States announced 2 days ago, I'll bet because they knew about this, that the USGS would survey the Dakotas to take a look at things. Keep in mind, the entire budget of the USGS is less than the cost of the Chinese survey of their entire nation.
So, one of the other topics for this week was momentum builds in Canada to kick Mexico out of North America trade deal. Would you
Yep.
like to comment on that?
Yeah, I think that Canada and the United States have the same attitude toward Chinese competition. China has been really moving into Mexico, and Canadian premiers of the provinces apparently have gotten together to talk to Washington about, hey, let's take another hard look at this American trade pact, and maybe we need to have a Canada-American pact, and then we can worry about Mexico.
I also thought it was interesting. Australia, India to boost cooperation on renewables. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think that Australia is looking for other customers besides China, and India is a fantastic opportunity because it's the second most populous nation on the planet, but it doesn't have a whole lot of natural resources. Australia has less people than Canada, and it has tremendous resources. It's a marriage made at the bank. It's perfect.
There's so many things I want to ask you, but let's go straight to Malaysia because I know you've been a guest of Malaysia on many occasions.
You
And
know,
the global race to break China's grip on graphite was a story about a new NASDAQ listed graphite technology, a green graphite facility. Do you want to comment on that?
in Malaysia, I'm
That's
sorry.
correct.
Okay.
NASDAQ
Well,
listed company GTI, and it's a green graphite facility.
okay. The point is that there is graphite mined in nearby nations to Malaysia. And what I believe Malaysia plans to do is value add. They're going to make the spherical graphite for used in battery anodes. And Malaysia is a very highly industrialized modern nation. It's almost unknown to Americans, but uh, downtown Kuala Lumpur is actually quite a bit more pleasant than Midtown Manhattan, and it's the same hustle and bustle. It's a modern nation.
Headline this week: Russia restricts enriched uranium exports to the United States. I thought we already had export, controls against Russia right now in the US for uranium.
But
This one surprised me.
well, no, the thing is, the Russians produce 40% of the world's enriched uranium, reactive fuel. That's what they're restricting, and that is a problem because the United States imports at this time about 100% of our reactor fuel. So we get it, 40% of it comes from Russia. And when the Russians restrict it, they're they're out to hurt us. Okay. So don't confuse uranium ore with processed enriched uranium as reactor fuel. The United States is now moving to reopen an existing plant we had here and and a company's building a new one to make our own reactor enriched uranium reactor fuel. But we foolishly gave up that business, and the Russians know how to reach and squeeze where it hurts.
I know you have a lot of experience in Brazil, and there was a title this week, China deepens ties with Brazil through financing and the promise of green economy. And I thought it was interesting. Brazil produces 88% of the world's niobium.
Mhm.
Comments?
Well, Brazil produces 88% of the world's niobium because they've decided to allow Canada to produce the other 12%. Brazil could produce all of the world's niobium. The Chinese don't produce niobium. They do use it extensively. It's not just niobium is interesting, but it's not the focus of China. China's telling Brazil, we will help you develop total industrial supply chains in your country based on your resources, and we will supply technology and even people to train your people. And what do the Chinese want in return? One, access to Brazilian markets. Two, a substantial amount of the natural resources that they show the Brazilians how to process and use products. And they want trade, free trade with Brazil. Now, Brazil is agreeing to, as far as I know, they're agreeing to all of this. And what this tells you, to be very short and to the point, is that China is doing a wonderful job developing its trade relations with all of South America, while the United States is sitting and saying, we have to have some meetings about this, perhaps a study group. The Chinese are the premier trading nation of this world. It used to be the United States. Before that, it was Great Britain. Things have changed.
Well, speaking of Great Britain and of course Europe, Northvolt has just announced bankruptcy. And of course, you predicted that from the onset. Would you like to comment on that?
Well, I think Northvolt is still supposed to be building a plant in Quebec. Okay. But with the bankruptcy of its parent company, I believe in Great Britain, I don't see how that's going to happen. It was just too much too soon. There's too many people talking about building battery plants. It's just there isn't the market isn't there. So that doesn't surprise me.
Well, Jack, thank you for this week's update. And for everybody out there, please go to the criticalmineralsinstitute.com to become a member and receive the Technology Metals Report weekly. Thank you, Jack.